Welcome, friends, to the Soul Talk podcast, a show where we explore and uncover the path to the heart, amplifying your conscience. Join me as we meet incredible souls who are in this journey and learn from their experience and different methods that will make you vibrate your heart. Let's get into it. This is Monica Ramirez, the Warrior of Love, and today we're going to be talking about forgiveness. And that's such an important subject. I start trying to define what it was forgiveness. And there are many concepts around there you can find, because you may find all of the concepts about forgiveness, but there was not a direct description what it is forgiveness. And why is that? I start asking myself. Because the forgiveness, how it is for somebody, it is very different for everybody. So there's not a cookie cutter for forgiveness, and we all feel different, and we all take different decisions and choices about the forgiveness. And this is another of the limitations that we're going to be talking, because this is very important to see it as a limited belief that it is. So we're going to talk about what it is forgiveness. Forgiveness is a process where you consciously decide to let go the anger or the deep emotion, disappointment, etc., from someone else, and or that resentment that sometimes it can hurt us, in fact, and our physical body carrying that, and is the desire of revenge against someone that who has wronged you. I am a Scorpio. And believe me, something that they have that everybody talks about the Scorpios are very, very vengeful. And I'm not gonna say that I was never that person, because when I was younger, I was when I was in my 20s. You don't wanna mess with Monica, because Monica will bite your head sooner or later, and you just have to wait. And that time it consumed me how I was gonna take revenge over someone that wronged me, that someone did not that hurt me. So it really consumed my life, and carrying that anger inside of me, it was like the motive of getting up on bed. It was not how I was going to be happy. No, it's like how I'm going to run someone that have hurt me. That got me stuck for several years, of course. And that got me that understanding that what I was doing, how I was damaging myself, forget about the other person. Even if I did wrong to them or not, in in revenge, it was consuming me. And I came to understand that we attach to the person that hurt us. Every time I was thinking how I was going to get that revenge, in that moment I was connecting to them. I was connected to that person, even if I don't want to see it ever. But I was connected to them, just thinking about them. We have, and then that moment, because I was so angry, I was feeling the mentality of victim. How many of you have not thought about that? It's like, oh, if I feel revenge and anger and I'm very mad because someone robbed me or hurt me or whatever it was in those terms, and you tell everybody about those things, guess what? You still have the mentality of victim, and we're gonna get out of that one today. And when you're hating someone, when you're hurt by someone, besides of having the mentality of victim, because they did that to you, or that situation, or that association did that to you, or the government, or whatever did that to you, they have the power over you. So you have to stop and think, when you cannot forgive a person, a situation, whatever it is, they're the one in control over you, not you. Because why? You're constantly thinking how you're gonna damage them, how hurt you are, how wrong they did to you. And you're constantly going with different stories in your head. So they are the one having the control over you because they're not even thinking about you. You're the one thinking about them. When we do not forgive someone who hurt us, we stop seeing in what we're responsible. I'm going to be telling you a little bit about my story about this because this was crucial to heal myself. When we can close our hearts, and how many times you have done it, because you don't do it only once. I wish the human being do one mistake, that includes me also, that we do only one mistake and we don't repeat it again. But no, we tend to repeat the same mistake over and over until we master the mistake and we stop doing it. That's something that is part of being human. And we close our hearts. Like when we got a heartbreak, and in that moment, with that heartbreak, we just don't want to fall in love with someone, or we start playing with people, but we don't want to involve ourselves. And the people that they're more afraid to fall in love with someone is because those people are the ones that being more hurt. Someone broke their hearts before, and they want to everybody pay for that. So they don't give them themselves the chance to actually meet someone that they can really love them and they can love them back and they can move forward. So they're stuck in time because when you're with that resentment, with that anger, with that pain, you're stuck in time, and that is a choice that we're making. What happened with emotions? They get stuck in our cellular body, and our body in that moment to go to our nerve system and so forth with those resentments and that anger and that pain and that disappointment or whatever it is, that it gets stuck in our nerve system, in all our body. And my story is that I used to be in my third marriage with a man that used to be really terrible. He used to beat me tremendously. It was abusive mentally, physically, and in all the ways. And when finally we divorced, I was angry. I was so angry at himself because how dare he beat me? How dare he treat me like that? How dare he do this and this and that? But then I came to understand that I did this to myself. Why? I chose to marry him. I chose to stay with him for 5 years. Yes, we can put that it was fear and it was that. Those are the ends, are excuses, because it's a matter of choice that I was still with him, and for the reason that I wanted to put it. In that case, it was fear. But if I didn't overcome that fear, I would not be talking to you right now. Probably I would be dead. Obviously, I overcome that fear, and we divorced, and he is not in my life anymore. But I was responsible of staying, of choosing him, and deciding to marry him, and even having a kid with him. That was my choice. It was no one else. It was mine. So when we come to understand that everything that happens to us, it is for us. Because if I did not have that experience then, I would not be the person that I am now. And probably would not be a life coach. Probably I would be just taking care of him. You know what I mean? So we are the person that we are because all the things that we already passed. So I was thankful for a while for him after I came to forgive him. I came to understand that I was thankful for him. I had the best teacher. I would not understand compassion and self love and how to bring out again the warrior on me if I did not have that teacher. So he was in a way very, very important in my own inner transformation that I went through. Of course, I know I deserve better, and now I love myself, and I would not put with that situation again because that taught me that how much I need to honor myself and respect myself. So you see, I had a great teacher that how I got to that point to feeling in fear and so forth, it was through forgiveness. To forgiveness not only to him, to my own self for choosing that. So you observe in reality no one can harm us unless we give them permission. How you can many people ask me, but how are giving permission? When you start doing expectations of others, that's how they can hurt you. Because they're gonna react however they are. Whatever they're thinking or feeling or they want is their own life. And you got hurt because you thought, oh, but I thought he was gonna treat me better. Oh, but I thought he was gonna bring me flowers. Oh, but I thought he was gonna do this or do that or whatever. It was in our imagination. And many times we think people are mind readers. They're not. Let me tell you that they're not. So you don't tell them, bring me flowers directly. Probably they're not going to bring you flowers because they're not mind readers. Some of them are in the spiritual community, but that's not the majority in the planet. They gaslight themselves, so that's why they are not mind readers. But where my point with this, it is the expectation that how other people should act. That's what it gets us hurt, and how they get hurt doing expectations of us. Because why we are going to be doing whatever we want, whatever we choose, and if we don't do whatever they had the story in their head, they're going to get hurt by us. It was not our intention, and it's not their intention either. But the expectations are the ones that hurt us, and that's how we give permission to others to hurt us. You see, we're responsible for that. We have to understand that we always have the power of choice. We choose to get with someone that is going to harm us, and we know it. I knew before my married my husband that beat me that my life was going to be miserable, but I was too afraid to say no. I was too afraid to run. So I said yes, people pleasing. Maybe he's gonna be nicer. And I start doing expectations, you see. And he was just being who he was. And I got hurt. And I got hurt. That's why I said I got hurt physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. And I did that to myself because I didn't feel worthy, because I don't thought that I deserved better. Name it. Everybody has a story in there. Hi everyone, this is Monica Ramirez, the Warrior of Love. And if you have been feeling stuck where you are right now, or if you have felt that you cannot connect with others in the same language or the same emotions that you're feeling, if you're a coach, a healer, energy worker, in any of those branches, maybe this is for you. Because we have felt the disconnection for the rest of our family, friends, that we cannot connect to them. And we're so afraid to actually go deep dive when we're getting triggered by our own clients because we're seeing our mirror image with them. My name is Monica Ramirez, the Warrior of Love, and that's my spiritual name. And I take clients from feeling confused and feeling stuck to feeling free, to feeling that they feel empowered from themselves. I created a system, Path to the Heart, that goes in 3 levels. And the first level, it is healing the inner child, healing the parts of us that we've been so afraid, or it's very painful to do it. I have done it myself, not only with me, and I have done it with many of my clients, that I take them to to this process. The second level, it is to go more into inner self, clearing the family lineage, to breaking the contracts and vows, learning deeper more about the laws of the universe. And the third level, it is learning how to channel, how to do waking up your and getting online your gifts, your unique gifts that the world so much needs right now. So if you wanted to know more about this, I am eager to show you and to teach you all what I know that I use every day in my life. So thank you for being here in this page. I really appreciate it. And this is Monica Ramirez, the Warrior of Love. I invite you to do 3 questions when you get hurt, when expectative is not met, when you feel disappointed of someone. You want to let it go fast, because or you can linger with that resentment and that hurt and so forth, that emotion in your heart for the rest of your life, or you can let it go. And that's a choice, remember. But how you go to point A to point B, you will ask. It is very simple. Let me tell you, give you 3 tips, 3 questions that is going to help you. The 3 questions is, the first one is, what I'm responsible of this situation. When you stop and you think, okay, what I'm responsible of this situation. Let's use the example that I've used before about my life. What I was responsible of that situation is like that I chose him. I chose that person. I chose to marry him. I chose to stay there. I chose to bring down my boundaries to the floor for any reason, but I am responsible for that. Second question: why did I choose to leave him in to live in this situation? Because I did not feel that I'm worthy. I didn't thought that I can have better. So that's why I leave this situation. Again, it goes back to me. He was being just himself. He was just choosing to be who he was. I was the one responsible for that because I chose to stay there. I chose to leave that situation. So probably I attracted. And now, the third question that is the winner in this one, because this is the one that is going to let you get out of that pain, of that victim mentality, of that hurt. It is, what do you learn from that situation? Like I just mentioned a few of them that I learned from that. I learned how to have compassion, how to love myself, how to. It is a huge list what I learned from that. And now I can say I see him as my teacher, like I mentioned earlier. So that's why it was easier to forgive him, because it was in my benefit. In a way, it was conspired all this situation for me, so I can grow and be who I am now. It didn't happen to me. It happened for me. And you have to repeat this, put pause and go back. It is important that you understand that. We need to understand that what is our contribution of every single circumstance, of every single trauma, of every single situation that we go through. I'm not gonna say that every single trauma or things that we have, they're easy to observe. Believe me, I've been there. I know they're not easy to observe, but if you don't observe what you learn from it, you're gonna be lingering in there forever. I linger with things that for too long that I should. Now it is easier to observe them without the charge. I'm just observing. I'm not judging. I'm not involving. I'm just observing my past because it was painful. And I'm just the observer, so I can release that pain. Or I want to continue with the pain. That is a choice. You see how powerful we are because at the end, we have choices. Everything is a choice for us. So we need to observe those painful moments. Just be the observer. Being the observer means don't judge, don't go into the emotion, just observe. Like when you're observing outside the flowers or the birds flying, you're not flying with the birds or with the butterflies. You're just observing them, right? That's exactly what it means. So that is going to bring you a big change in your life. Now, we need to understand what it is for what it is forgiveness and how to overcome this, because this is a very limiting belief. It is get us stuck, so we don't want that. To release those negative emotions, we need to stop feeling and so stop feeling so angry and so bitter. We need to observe that. Now, we need to not excuse also the behavior. Oh, it was because he was angry and he had a bad day or it was hot. That's why he beat me. No, I don't need to excuse those behaviors. I was deserving respect. I was deserving that love. I was deserving not to be treated like that. So he's not having more control over me at all. But if I make excuses for him, oh, like a Mexican saying that we have, oh, he beat me because he loved me, that is making an excuse for them. So we need to start finding the peace. And the inner peace, the only way that we can find inner peace is when we finally forgive someone. So, like that, we can move forward from the pain and start really enjoying life. I really believe that Source, God, universe, whatever name you want to call it, I don't care, do not create the human beings to come, be born, grow, go to school, go to work, get married, get a bunch of compromises, and get old, sick, and die. That would be such a waste of energy and in creation. You don't think so? God is wisdom, it is intelligence, and it is love. So you don't want the creations to create more chaos. So, but we need to find that peace. We need to release that to move forward. We need to observe the situations and observe why we put ourselves in that situation because we don't want to repeat it again with someone else, but we don't want to close our heart in it. So we need to overcome these hurtful emotions and to forgive. Remember that is about a personal choice that we're doing to continue with this perpetually or we release it. We need to make understand that it is gonna take us time. We cannot rush forgiveness. It can't happen in a second. It can happen in many years or months or weeks. So that's something that we need to understand and have that patience with us. That is going to help us to release, to heal different relationships because we're going to be open again to fall in love again or to to have better relationships with others because we're going to understand that setting boundaries it is very important. So like that, we don't have nothing to forgive because people understand our boundaries because we're learning to respect ourselves. And that's part of the teaching in the forgiveness. I'm going to give you some exercises that can help you transform and journal. That is very, very, very helpful. But because when you journal, you are letting go and write a letter to that person that harmed you. You don't have to give it to that person. You can burn it later on if you want. But the thing is, when you're writing it, you're dumping. all the emotions in there in a paper. I do it even with painting. I'm so angry, I need to paint, and sometimes I just dump it in the canvas or I dump it in a paper. But it's helping to release that emotion. So journaling, it is very, very helpful. And don't forget that it's not only about other people that you're angry. You might project all your anger to one person, but sometimes that anger has to do with yourself and you're angry to yourself. Then the next piece that I would like to give you a tip so you can release this and hopefully you can do it. It is do Ho'oponopono. It's a technique that is now very known. Everybody knows it. That it is very helpful to release and forgive someone. And you don't have to have the person in front of you. You just have to imagine the person or say their name and says, I am sorry. Please forgive me. I love you and thank you. It's very simple. I am sorry. Please forgive me. I love you and thank you. And repeat it as many times as you want. Because remember that doing Ho'oponopono to someone, it is, I have seen magic with that. But I have done Ho'oponopono to myself for the choices that I have done that it have harmed me. So that I have done it to myself. So that's why I have done Ho'oponopono to me. And other tips that I can tell you about for forgiveness, it is create a worksheet. In this worksheet that I recommend you to do, you're gonna start identifying how with what makes you hurt, who hurt you, acknowledge those feelings. And like that, you're starting to work with each person and each hurt. It might be disappointments, it might be anger, it might be whatever it was. So you're gonna make that worksheet. That is gonna help you to forgive, or at least have a catalog. What is you have to work first, and then second, and then third. And visualize that you have like a pot of fire in front of you, and you just put in, and that the anger is an object that you're gonna put in that fire. And as I release this anger, and just imagine that you put it in that fire, and imagine that anger, that fearfulness, that disappointment, it is just burning that fire in front of you. That is something that is being very, very helpful for me. And it's a technique of visualization. And I have some affirmations for you. I choose to release anger and embrace peace. Forgiveness brings me freedom and healing. I forgive myself for accepting less than love for myself. I forgive myself for choosing these situations to enter in my life. And the last tip that I will give you, it is do an exercise, do any physical work. Why? Because we need to release it from our body. So tapping it is good, yoga, walking, any kind of physical work that you do so you can release it from your own physical body. And you can start forgiving whatever situation that you are in. So my name is Monica Ramirez, the Warrior of Love, and thank you for being here.